Good evening, Man Cave Sports back on a Tuesday evening to discuss the Minnesota Vikings 22-6 loss versus the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football, a game I was unfortunate enough to attend. And as somebody that has been to somewhere in the vicinity of 100 Vikings games in my lifetime, I have to say this ranked in the top 5 of worst games I've ever attended. Uh, don't need to tell anybody that is listening to this how bad it was. Second half in particular was just a snooze fest. Many of the faithful left early. I decided to stick it out till about 2 minutes. I think that might have been when McCarthy threw his second interception and decided it was time to get the hell out of there. But we will dissect, discuss, and analyze the mess that is the Minnesota Vikings as we see them today, because a lot has happened since last Tuesday when we convened. So, Mr. Steve, I'll start with you. There is some positivity, so we'll try to start out with that before we pile on with the negativity. But talk about the defensive performance from B-Flow's unit.
Our defense, it's ranked 17th right now in the NFL, mainly because of just total yards given up. But they really exemplified the bend don't break. Up until that last, 2-3 minutes where we let them walk into the end zone to try to save time, we held them to field goals. We shut them down in the red zone completely. It didn't matter what they did; they were not getting in the end zone, so that was good. When we take a look at some of these different team stats, the Falcons came out and they said, we're going to run the ball. And sure as shit, they did. They ran it 39 times. And that's what they came out to do. They only passed for 108 yards. So, I mean, the big thing was the defense needed to be able to hold up to that amount of pounding. And with the injuries that we have, Van Ginkel being out, Cashman being out, you got a lot of guys that are, Smith being out. We got a lot of guys that are injured right now. It's one of those things that they held up as best they could. Now, Ivan Pace Jr. there, buddy, you got to get low. He probably missed 4 tackles in the hole there by going up too high on Bijan Robinson, and Bijan just shook him. He was there. You'd see him come in. You go to make Dallas Turner had a couple of those as well. Our defense in the second half, we were able to get home a couple of times. The interior defensive line pressure was good. Jalen Redmond showed up, had some good plays, and had some good pressures, had a sack. So the defense did, overall pretty good for, considering the damage that was done with injuries. And, Atlanta came out and said this is a personal pride game for them to come out and be able to run the ball on us. And they put it right, first play, everybody left, first play, next play, everybody right. They just made it a point to do it. But the defense stood up. If we had any sort of semblance of offense, we should have won this game because we held them to 5 field goals outside of that last walk-in that we gave them to save time. So defense, I'm still, they're still doing a good job. We're still a little bit of bend, but no breaking. So I'm encouraged by that. But I'm sure we'll talk about the injuries more. But it feels like we lost our jobs, our cars don't work, our pets' heads are falling off. It's just getting crazy in here. So.
Yeah, and next week's opponent, the Bengals, are having similar issues. Obviously, Joe Burrow down. That's a significant story. And we'll talk a little bit about the Vikings' injuries here shortly. But, Gary, talk about the offensive performance. 6 points, no points in the second half. So pretty pedestrian performance from the Vikings offense.
Yeah, I think we've seen through the season here, I think we've seen around 7 quarters of pretty rough offensive football. We've seen one bright quarter in that Chicago Bears game. I think the Vikings end up with less than 250 yards all around. 78 of that was rushing from 3 people. Anytime you have a game where you throw for around $150 and run for 78, I don't think you're going to win many of those games. That's pretty tough. So the Vikings have had a lot of issues, and their issues start up front. Ryan Kelly has been a big issue. The first game, it was just getting that unit together. The second game, when he went out, Juergens came in. Juergens did fine. But there again, we're missing a tackle, left tackle. It's a big piece. School, Walter Rouse. No one's been able to really hone down that side without Darrisaw there. So the Vikings just haven't gotten anything going on that offensive end. And I got to be honest with you, some of the problems just isn't just the line. JJ McCarthy's decision making and some errant high balls are really costing some drives and to elongate those drives. Everything's been real three and out, three and out. That kills a lot. That puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and then the offense just doesn't get going. So it's been really pedestrian at best here. And I think it's going to be interesting to see maybe a higher dose of Jordan Mason. I think that's probably a positive thing coming forward. But yeah, that offense has been real sluggish.
Yeah, no doubt. And you brought up a couple of the injuries, and we'll discuss that a little more. But Brian, we'll go to you. Actually, we'll discuss it right now. Brian, talk about the defensive injuries. I know Mr. Steve brought up a couple of the names, but coming out of this Bears and Falcons games, talk about where the defense sits.
Oh, you're missing the gank. You're missing Cash, and the Eden Prairie guy is a top 5 middle linebacker in football. I mean, if you watch, we don't lose when he's playing, and that's tough. You got Okuda, former 3rd overall pick. You got Rogers thing up.
Grenard went down twice during the game. I didn't know if he was going to get back up.
Nah, but he's ready to play. I mean, Austin Keys, Elijah Williams. It's the whole thing is it's the system. It's B-flow. And I'm still going to double down on what I said all last year during these podcasts. As Mr. Steve alluded to, we had a chance to win that game because of the defense. We were putrid on offense. I mean, I'm not going to get into Gary's thing on the offense performance. It's just, it was like when JJ was getting the snap, he was figuring out how to gain yards and not lose yards. It was weird with the swinging door over there at left tackle, the Tampa guy. But we're gonna come back and we're gonna get a little bit more healthier and in beat flow. I trust. I'm happy that we actually hung in there. To be honest with you, I mean, we could have won that game as awful as we looked. So I mean, just let's get some of these guys back. Gank with concussion. I mean, just those little things. Dallas Turner being 1-2 play guy every 4 downs. I think that's where we're going to work well.
All right. Gary, you talked about the offensive performance. Now talk about the injuries coming out of this game because there were plenty.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these injuries aren't just we're banged up for a week. These guys are going on IR. I mean, that's a 4-week deal. So you're looking at the one that I'm really surprised with is Aaron Jones. That's a 4-week injury at least, which doesn't feel good to me. The one injury that's really bothering me outright is Darrisaw, because if he wasn't ready for going into 3 weeks, why wasn't he on the short-term injury report? And we could have had another player in here for him. I know they want to get him back in this game mode, but if he's just not ready, why did we kind of waste that roster spot where we could have that additional guy? So that's bothering me. I mean, now you're down JJ. That looks to seem to be a 2 to 4 week injury. So you're going to Carson Wentz. You're bringing in another running back off the street, which, yes, he's got a lot of talent and knows the system very well. But you can't keep plugging all these pieces in and think this wheel's just going to turn the same. There's going to be bumps and bruises along the way. Now, if Ryan Kelly's out longer, because this is his 4th concussion, so that puts a hiccup in everything, because that's really your quarterback of your offensive line. He's the one running protections, and that's the safety blanket for a guy like J.J. McCarthy, as far as knowing, hey, I don't have to worry about where the pressure's coming from. These guys are kind of in sync together. So the more we stretch that offensive line, the less that's available, and these injuries just keep piling up. You know, I'm just nervous that how much more can we take before it really causes a lot of stir. And we're going to find out here next week, apparently.
Yeah, and you alluded to Aaron Jones going down with a hammy. Same thing that has sidelined Cashman. But
yeah, Yeah.
Here in Minnesota, we have an annual tradition. It's called Cam Akers Day
I
because
know it.
every year we seem to bring him back. Luckily, he was on the street, so we didn't have to give up anything for him. But with with Aaron Jones going down, Cam Akers returns. Talk about that, Steve, because he's a Vikings favorite. I mean, he's anytime we get an injury or need some help in the backfield, he just seems to show up.
Yeah, he's kind of KOC's Nookie Blanky, when it comes to, we need somebody else in the backfield there. Last year, we traded for him in 23. Cut, he walks, and then we traded for him again in 24, and then he walks, and now we traded for him again in 25. It's an annual. We should just make it a holiday for the Vikings here, I guess. But at the same time, though, the guy does perform. Last year, he was averaging 4.6 yards a carry. He does help out in the passing game. He had, I think he had 18 targets and 10 catches last year. And he's just, he's coming in every, third, fourth play, right? He's not necessarily splitting things. Now, with as physical as Mason runs, they might want to look at giving Akers a little bit more, but, obviously he's just coming off the street. There are different wrinkles every year, even though it's, quote unquote, same system. You still got to give him a couple days to get his head on and know where he's got to be. But one thing that he did do a pretty good job was, his protection, his blitz pickup. He did he's a pretty physical guy. So that's going to be helpful, especially when we're playing quarterback carousel again. So I'm looking forward to it. My son called it. He was setting up his fantasy team. He goes, Dad, maybe I should hide Cam Akers on my thing. And I'm like, dude, he's not even playing for anybody. Why would you do that? And he goes, you just wait. And I'm like, all right. Aiden Damas there. He picked it up. He knew Cam was going to come home, come back to good old KOC. So, it'll be interesting to see. It's a good storyline. It's kind of a feel good thing when we're playing like junk. Maybe there's something that he can spark for us. So good to see the guy come back, and hopefully good things will happen because of it.
No doubt. And Jordan Mason, as well as he's played, I'm sure he's going to be happy to see him in that running back room. Gary, you talked about JJ McCarthy's injury. Talk about his performance through 2 games, because I think and I think you alluded to it earlier, man, there's been 7 rough quarters and 1 good quarter. I did notice while at the game, there were a few passes, one he threw to Thielen, one he threw to Jefferson. Even the first one he got picked were a little low. And then he overshot Naylor, who was wide open in a would have been a sure touchdown. Granted, the O-line's been a little leaky and injured, but what do you think about the first 2 games, and what will he learn while he's sitting out with this injury based on what's happened through 2 weeks? Because we're not going to see him for a few games. That seems to be a given.
I think part of JJ's maturation process has been he's going to have to continue to get faster at getting plays getting in and out of the huddle. I think I heard today during KOC's press conference that he did mention that was a big emphasis going into this week, was working on that, getting in and out of the huddle. So just that young quarterback being able to get in that spot and understand the pressures of getting in and out of the huddle, which everything predicates off that, right? You see what the defense is going to do pre-snap and then post-snap, right? And I think he's having a hard time necessarily feeling that pressure, because all of a sudden he's stepping up a second too late, or he's getting out of that, trying to flush that pocket faster than he needs to, and that's the essence of that magician of a quarterback, is to learn when that second is clicking in your head to get rid of the ball. It's a finite thing where you guys can get rid of it too fast. And I think JJ's just on that cusp at 22 years old, where he's just not sure of where that's at yet. And hell, it's only been 2 games. I'm not going to put all the pressure on him there, but these are things we're going to work through. And I think these are the stages in which a rookie quarterback are at. Yes, he's a second-year player, but it's his 2 NFL games. He's at 8 quarters under his belt. So we're seeing the raw maturation of a quarterback who's just really getting his feet wet in the NFL. And there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be some great throws like he had against the Bears. And there's going to be some awful throws like he had it with the Vikings against the Falcons this week. That Naylor pass, I'm sure he'd love to have that back. That first interception, can't really blame him a lot on that. He kept that ball low to the ground. Heck of a play made by the guy. I mean, I'm not going to put that all on JJ there, but that out route against the Bears, bad pass. So there's that finite stuff where he's not doing everything wrong, but JJ's learning process is just happening and unfolding in front of our eyes. And that's what we're going to get. So, yes, it hasn't been great, but I think it's important to note that this is part of the process. Good or bad.
Yeah, and I don't know what the hell happened on that delay game. It was right in front of where I was sitting, where the ref was in his way. And as I'm watching it unfold, me and the fellow fans around us were, what the hell is going on? And I did see KOC got pretty heated about it with the refs. So
what happened was they exchanged players. So you have to then get time for the defense to be able to do it. So that's what put him in that position of the delay game.
yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily his fault. That was more actually the offensive coordinators and getting those guys in and out than anything else.
Yeah.
He just gets the heat.
Yeah, kind of the point you alluded to of him getting the play call off quicker and not getting the delay of games. It seems like he improved on that this week, but
yeah, I agree. And we're gonna get the goods and the bads. He had a hell of a run. I mean, we're gonna get the goods and the bads of this guy. That's what this is, but we just hope we get more good than bad.
So interestingly enough, as the preseason winded down, the Vikings decided to pick up Carson Wentz. And in hindsight, that looks like it might have been a good move because you got a veteran quarterback coming in on a team that has high expectations based off of a 14-3 season last year. So we do know Carson Wentz will probably start a minimum of two games, upwards of 4, maybe longer, depending upon how McCarthy's ankle sprain heals. Brian, I know you're very familiar with Carson Wentz. Tell us what we can look forward to. I did see today that when Mr. McCarthy had his child on Thursday and Wentz filled in, that KOC said he only saw maybe one ball hit the ground. So it sounds like in practice he's clicking with his new teammates.
Well, I gotta go out on the same jive that I've been doing since I've been on this show. I mean, I believe in B-flow. I believe everything that happens, injuries or whatever, schematic wise, whoever we play, I'm going to trust what that guy's going to do. In turn, I believe in the quarterback whisperer. I mean, it sounds, the word I was going to use wasn't going to be good, but it sounds weird. But Carson Wentz, a former second overall pick by the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, he's got the size, he's got the arm, he's got the strength. He grew up as a Vikings fan in North Dakota. I mean, could he come back, and could this be like what we need with the quarterback guy as our head coach? Like Randall Cunningham, Wade Wilson, Jeff George, Gus Frerotte, Todd Bowman. Could it be that type of thing? I think there's a good chance of that. But I can't. Okay, Mr. Steve, I got to do this. Hang on. Yeah, the tinfoil hat's on. I think that Kate.
Oh, wow. We lost him.
Oh, no. I really wanted to hear that.
Tinfoil's hat's out a lot. Well, let me. I was going to take a run at what he was going to say. Oh, wait, there he is. He's back.
Yeah, I'm back. Hang on.
All right, let's hear this. Let me put my receptors on so I can get your tinfoil dialed in here.
We have to get you a damn tinfoil hat.
My hat's on.
A real one.
KOC, the quarterback whisperer, knows the kid ain't ready. The offensive line is shit. I think that JJ McCarthy could start this week, and they're giving him a couple weeks to figure it out. And, God bless him. I mean, that's my theory. I'll take it off, Mr. Steve.
All right. Interesting stuff here on week.
It wouldn't be shocking with a 2 to 4 week injury if they didn't bring him back till after the bye. We go to England and Dublin and they give him a couple weeks to watch. If he's got a high ankle sprain, it wouldn't, and then we'll see.
He finished the game.
You kill his confidence immediately if that's what you did. You cannot do that. There's no way they're doing that.
I disagree, Big G. I disagree. I think that's what's happening.
No way.
All right. Let's move along from the conspiracy theories. Mr. Steve, I know you're hard pressed to find one based on the performance of the team, but do you have a bad MF for week 2 on the Viking squad?
Yeah, and most of the time, like especially last year when we first started doing this, it was really, you had multiple candidates and who was most deserving, much the biggest impact. Well, this game against the Falcons was kind of the opposite. You had guys that did some good things and then also did some head things. Miles Price had some, 20 some yard average again for returns. And then he just, he put greased up with Crisco and dropped the ball right off his chest. Sure, it was the end of the game, but you never know. Jalen Redmond was playing like a man among boy, second year feeling his oats. He got in the backfield. He's getting complimented by Collinsworth, and these other people about how good he's doing. And then he gets a bonehead false start there, or offsides rather, and just stupid stuff. Ivan Pace Jr. led the team in tackles. He had 7 solo, 9 total. He had a tackle for loss, but he also had 4 blown tackles, at least that I saw, in the hole against Bijan, in which we could have, stopped those runs easier and sent the kids picking up an extra 6-8 yards because Ivan Pace couldn't get low enough to hit the guy in the legs instead of trying to tack him around the shoulder. So it was definitely a challenge. Nobody on the offensive side I really could do anything with. But I did do this. Our bad MFer probably should have got it last week, Mr. Eric Wilson. Mr. Eric Wilson, solid numbers. He had 5 tackles, 1 solo, but he had the big peanut punch to knock that ball out and give us a chance, right? He knocked that ball out at another big reception that was looking bad, and he comes up in just perfect form, just knocked that right out of there and got us a turnover, and keeping us in the game. So Mr. Eric Wilson, he gets my bad MFer of the game for week 2. Could have got it last week easily because he was a huge impact guy then, filling in for one Mr. Cashman, but he's doing a great job. Hopefully his old legs at 8-9 seasons in keep going, and we'll see him chase around whoever Joe Burrow's backup is next week for Cincinnati.
All right. I believe it's former Viking Browning, right? Is he not the starter?
Jake Browning out of the University of Washington.
Jake, yeah.
Give Jake a break. I did hear rumblings of Jameis Winston possibly being traded, but who knows? Maybe that was a bad traded to Cincinnati, but
I did hear that too.
yeah, that'd be interesting. He's a character. I do enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy his personality. I wouldn't have been horribly upset if they had brought him in the off season, but man, as many touchdowns he can throw, he makes sure to even it out with interceptions. So, but hey, to me he's a top 5 interview in the league. So, all right, got the Bengals coming up in a rare noon game on Sunday, since the Vikings are used to going prime time and then breakfast time here in a couple of weeks for 2 straight weeks. So, gentlemen, what are your predictions for the game? I know last week I think we picked the Vikings to win in a close game. I don't think any of us were feeling that great, like this was going to be an easy game against the Falcons. Definitely a winnable game. But this game, this upcoming week, is got a lot of strange aura around it, between Burrow being out, JJ being out, and the many Vikings injuries that we have. So I have no idea what the hell is going to happen on Sunday. Gary, what's going to happen on Sunday?
Man, this is a coin flip for me. It's all hinges off that offense and the line and Carson Wentz. Are we getting the Carson Wentz from Philly in the first year of the Indianapolis Colts? Or are we getting the Carson Wentz that played 1 game with the Niners and 1 game with the Rams? We don't know. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get, but I know that this is going to be a tight game. I think this is a 3-point game. I don't know. And you could take it for what you want. I don't know who in the hell is going to win by 3, but I think it's going to be a 3-point game. I don't see either offense having that much put together on either side. I mean, Jamar Chase and you got Jets on the other side. They're both going to want to show up and show out, and their quarterbacks do it for them. So I don't know what to think. I think it's going to be a mid-scoring game. It's going to be a 3-point game. You can pick it from there. I can't commit to who.
All right, Brian.
Well, isn't it interesting? As soon as I put my tinfoil hat on, the NSA started blocking my signal. I mean, they don't want part of that, you know. I think we're going to see the rebirth of Carson Wentz. Jake Browning, though, I mean, he's had to play a lot of games last year. I'm going to go 27-20 Vikings.
All right, take it to the bank, Mr. Steve.
This is, I just took a quick look, and you've got duct tape and band-aids on both sides of the field with both of these teams. We've got our improved interior defensive line and B flow, but on the other side, you got Trey Hendrickson going against, I don't know, whatever parking cone we put on the left-hand side of the line to try to block. I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So
it could be
but,
Darisaw.
I don't know. I mean, it'd be amazing if it could, because I think we'd be all right. If Carson Wentz can hit some quick passes and get rid of the ball, I mean, I think that's part of JJ's problem, is not trusting what he's seeing, not being able to make the quicker decisions. So that might make all the difference right there. But I'm probably going something close, like 24-21. Jake Browning is, going to want to reduplicate whatever he did when he beat us last time he played us. So, that you shouldn't have cut me crap. So I'm going to go 3 points Vikes, just because it's home. Probably 24-21 is what I'm thinking. But I think, much like Gary, I would not be shocked to see it be 3 points the other way, because there's a mash unit showing up on the entire field.
No doubt. And ironically, my head's in the same place as you guys. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the 3 points is right where my head was at as well, but I'll put it a little lower scoring than you guys. I'll go 20-17 Vikings. But I have no idea when the hell is going to happen on that field on Sunday. This is just coming out of this game. It's just an awkward feeling. You really don't know what's going to happen with this team this year. And there's tons of season left. Obviously, the Vikings have a talented team, but the amount of concussions and hamstrings that have taken place through the first 2 weeks is surreal. And it doesn't matter how good your team is if you can't keep them on the field and healthy. So, I mean, be interesting to see how the Vikings hold up over the next few weeks. They definitely don't want to get behind, because I think everybody can attest here, the Packers, as much as we hate to say it, the Packers look pretty damn good through 2 games. And Detroit took the Bears out behind the woodshed and beat that ass on Sunday as well. So they were playing with a chip on their shoulder. We know how tough the NFC North is. It's a long season. So let's hope there is some better news on the health front going forward. But with that, gentlemen, that concludes. Let me go full screen here. That concludes this week's edition of Vikings Recap with the Skull Fockers, as they are affectionately known. Good to have all 4 here this week. Mr. B. Naughty was evidently too busy last week to make it. So the show, like we say, the show must go on. But gentlemen, it's been an honor and a privilege. We will see you guys next week. Skull Vikings. Later, dudes.
Go Vikes.